Thanks for joining me on Life in Surround. It's the 50th anniversary of the 1975 self-titled album from Fleetwood Mac. So to celebrate that, I'm going to be talking about not only the brand new Blu-ray audio of the album, which features lossless, high-resolution stereo, 5.1, and Atmos, but I'm also going to be discussing the 2018 Deluxe set. So these are both from Reprise Records. I realize some of you may say reprise, but reprise is actually the musical term, and so that might be the name of the company, so I'm going to go with that. And so I'm going to talk about whether this new Blu-ray is worth it, and my impression of the mixes, and going to just discuss the merits of the 2018 set, in case that appeals to any of you. So first off, let's talk about the Blu-ray audio, because that is for sale. It's available at retail, so many of you are probably wondering whether you should take the dip, especially if you already have the 2018 Deluxe, which has a DVD video featuring the album in 5.1, though it is a lossy codec. I don't remember if it's Dolby Digital or DTS, but nonetheless, it is lossy, not lossless. So one draw for the new Blu-ray, in fact, what secured my purchase, whether or not the Atmos was any good, was the fact that Ken Callett's 5.1 mix is now featured losslessly here. It's featured in DTS HD Master. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Blu-ray. Sure, that is meant to mimic the original label of the LP. And then it comes with this booklet, and you can see, as always, I keep my hype sticker. The booklet here just features the lyrics to the songs. A little bit difficult for me to read without reading glasses at my age. So to put that in context, I wasn't born when this self-titled album was released, but I was around for Rumors, just barely. So anyway, and then it also has credits on the back. We find that Chris James did the Atmos mix, and Craig Anderson and David Dykman at Craigman Digital did the mastering. So since I have just mentioned the Atmos mix and mastering, I want to let you know, if you are familiar with my review of the Rumors Blu-ray that came out, I don't know, a year or so ago, I was not happy with the sound of the Atmos mix. If you bring the album up to bumping volume in my room, meaning I can feel the kick drum in my chest, the highs of that mix are just wall paint, blistering, painful to listen to, like way too bright. And I had to turn that Atmos mix down to a level where the music just wasn't exciting to me, so I'm really not a fan of that Atmos mix because of the mastering. So I'm happy to report here that although I find the Atmos mix to be ever so slightly bright, it is very much listenable, and I was able to crank the album to bumping volume and to enjoy my listen. I probably would have backed off on the brightness a tiny bit were I in control of the mastering knobs, but I am actually hearing from other listeners that they like the album just fine, but I'm also seeing reviews that it is a bit on the bright side. So that said, this Blu-ray also features Ken Callett's 5.1 mix losslessly. So bottom line, this Blu-ray is absolutely worth it if you love this iconic album. If it hasn't burned out for you, if you haven't listened to it too many times already, if you're interested in hearing this album or even the hits from it, and you are interested in the 5.1 losslessly or the Atmos mix, I really can recommend both. So a word about the difference in the mixes. Bottom line, the 5.1 mix is more adventurous and is going to offer more surround wow, more obvious discrete placement of important musical instruments all around the surround field. By comparison, the Atmos mix is less adventurous, it is more subtle. There are moments where you're not sure that the immersive field is really being used discreetly. I actually got up and walked around the room and listened to various speakers, and there are isolated vocals and instruments and various things going on in the immersive field. It's just that the fronts are mixed so loudly that the Atmos mix is a front-centric mix most of the time. And then there are moments of accentuation where you're going to obviously know that the immersive field is being used. So that said, I really did enjoy the Atmos mix. It just doesn't deliver a lot of surround wow. I can cite a couple of examples of exceptions, like the chimey guitars in the track Crystal shimmer and glimmer and move around the room in just a magical way in the Atmos mix, whereas in the 5.1 mix, those elements are also mixed into the surrounds, but in like a static, discrete way. And it's cool in terms of hearing maximum separation of the parts, but I really think that the moment is more magical on the Atmos mix. And the same goes for the undulating acoustic guitar work that opens the track World Turning is a more impressive moment for the Atmos mix. So I'm glad that I own both of these. I'm gonna give the nod to the 5.1 mix. For one thing, the 5.1 mix has this spoken intro to Rhiannon, spoken by Stevie Nicks herself, and it's pretty cool. So I recommend the 5.1 mix over the Atmos mix, but the Atmos mix is no slouch, and it is an enjoyable listen, and I'm glad that I've been able to enjoy both. So I really am glad that the Blu-ray contains both. That's a high value, and so I think this Blu-ray is a no-brainer. And I'm gonna say it is whether or not you have the 2018 set, with one exception. If you're already happy with Ken Callett's 5.1 mix and you're happy listening to it in a lossy format, just because some information has been discarded doesn't really mean that it will affect the enjoyment of all listeners. So if you're already happy with the DVD video that comes with this set, let me go ahead and show that off. I think you could pretty much stick with this set. So here's the 2018 set. It comes with 3 CDs, so you have the original album and singles, and then you have early versions and live from the Warner Brothers soundstage, and then live from the tour. I totally recommend checking out the live material from the group at this time. It is on fire. As the essay says that accompanies this set, let me show off this booklet here. Got penguins on the back. So it comes with an essay, and in it, it describes how Mick Fleetwood took a chance on Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks because he heard a few cuts from their debut record, Buckingham Nicks, and just heard that it had that musical quality that just is magical and is just going to draw listeners and inspire passion, and is just going to exude musical greatness. And not only did Buckingham and Nicks have but it turns out that combining them with the 3 remaining members of Fleetwood Mac at the time, the whole band ended up having it, and this album has it. So anyway, cool essay. Then you get to see lots of shots of the band, like there they are recording at Sound City in Van Nuys. Oh, and by the way, I am sitting just a few miles away from where Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joined together and first, started collaborating musically. They did so, I believe, in association with Atherton High School. I'm not sure if both of them went to the high school, but at least Stevie Nicks did, if I recall. I just listened to her autobiography not too long ago, Gold Dust Woman, I think it's called. And anyway, so I'm just a couple miles away from there. I'm going to show off the book from this set in case you never end up picking it up. It is really rather nice. This set also comes with an LP, which a lot of people hate when there's mixed media, and the text is larger for the lyrics. I appreciate that. My eyes are going myopic. Here's a promo draft where they switched around Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham because of, their names are not obvious, whether they're male or female. Kind of funny. So anyway, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Craig Anderson did the mastering for the 5.1 mix, and then Craig Anderson and his associate David Dykman, I believe, did the mastering for the Atmos mix, and they both sound really nice. All right, so you have the 2018 Deluxe set available, used at this point. And I don't know if it's like going for outrageous prices or if it's kind of reasonable. And the Lossy 5.1 mix sounds fine. But now we have it lossless. And, surround enthusiasts tend to go in for that sort of thing. I know I sure do. I appreciate having it lossless. So anyway, just a few words about the new Blu-ray and the historic 2018 set. I'm really glad I own both. This is a truly great record. The live cuts in the 2018 set are to die for, and if you are not interested in obtaining the set, those cuts are probably all up on streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify. Just look for Fleetwood Mac 1975 Deluxe and you should be good to go. So anyway, I hope you appreciate this video. I hope it's helpful or at least enjoyable for you. If you like what I do, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, make comments, share these videos. It all helps this channel, and I appreciate that very much. I have thoroughly enjoyed both of these products. They have put me in much, much, much greater touch with this absolutely fabulous album that was released before I was born, but in a very magical age for music. And what an amazing, wonderful album this is. It is dripping with hopeful love and enthusiasm, and in my opinion is a bit more of an uplifting listen than the record that came just after, which is a bit of a breakup record. So anyway, Fleetwood Mac 1975 self-titled debut, the second self-titled album by Fleetwood Mac, by the way, much different than the 1968 debut. And I don't know if I showed it off, so here's the band. And anyway, thanks for watching, and live life and surround.